Greetings. I'm Charles, 54 years old. I weigh 6'1" when I'm fully assembled, and last weigh-in I was about 230 pounds. Alright, today I'm going to show you what I had to do just coming home from the hospital. I'm a double amputee. I'm a below the knee amputee on my right side, above the knee amputee on my left side. I've had the below the knee amputation for several years, and the above the knee on the left side is relatively recent. And this is one of the reasons why I thought to give you folks an idea of basically what I had to prepare for at home to be able to manage. Of course, I actually didn't go home. I went to my folks' house because they wanted me to be monitored 24/7. There was a concern that I might bust open, my wound, and there'd be uncontrollable bleeding, or just any number of things. They just didn't want me to not be watched, and it just made sense to not be at my house. It just made it easier for everybody else that was involved to do it there. So, in any case, one of the things I don't have here is a bed. I couldn't go upstairs. My stump was too sore to be able to move very well, so I ended up, I had to stay downstairs the whole time. So I had a bed that I had downstairs that I, of course, slept in, and then I had a whole bunch of other stuff that I basically needed to have ready when I got home, or I got it ready splickety-split. And I thought if I just gave folks an idea of the stuff that I needed to have prepared in my designated space so that I could manage for a week or two, or however long you might need to manage, that it might help people be prepared for the same thing. So first of all, I'd have a bed, which of course you can't see in this pile of stuff. Had a bedside commode. I don't know if you can tell what this is over here, but that's a bedside commode. Of course, there's got to be some TP. All this has got to be here relatively handy. I'd have my wheelchair, which I've got my hiney parked in right now, so that I could get from my bed to wherever I needed to go, especially the bedside commode if that was necessary. One of the other things that came in really handy was these plastic bags. I use these grocery store bags, trash bags or whatever. Use those for lining a trash can, which is an awfully good idea to have handy. And also put my dirty laundry in it, because I couldn't get downstairs to do laundry either. Couldn't get upstairs to go to bed, couldn't get downstairs to do laundry. So I put my dirty clothes in one of these plastic bags, and of course they're handy for a ton of other things also. So another thing is paper towels. Always very handy. It's good to have some of those within reach. I had those on a little table that was next to my bed. And since we're talking about stuff on the bed, it's a good idea. It's unbelievable until you do it. You will not realize how sore and how impossible it is for you to move. So I went ahead and spent the extra couple of bucks and got some of these absorbent, whatever they are, I don't know what they're called, but to lay down on the bed in case there was a, unless there was some kind of an accident. So I figured it was worth a few bucks just to protect that and maybe not be so embarrassing. And in any case, so I had that, and also having some tissues handy was very convenient, as well as having a bottle of water or some sealed bottle of liquid refreshment, because it's easy to knock a lot of stuff over. So I'd have a bottle of water. One of the main reasons I have to have water handy is because I had a lot of medications I had to take. So I like to keep things contained. So I had a big deal. I had a bunch of my medications in it, and that's one of the reasons why I have water handy, so that I could go ahead and wash that stuff down. Okie dokie. One of the other things that was absolutely useful early on was one of these things. I don't know if you can tell what it is on the video, but this is a sliding board. I think the technical term is a medical sliding board, but this is what people that have difficulty moving, like from the chair into a wheelchair, from the wheelchair to the the bedside commode or something, would use this. So we want to have this, we want to have it handy. Unfortunately, almost all this stuff you want to have handy, so there's plenty of stuff that, so it's kind of crowded around. That's why I like to use these containers to kind of keep it somewhat contained. At least you know what's in the different buckets. Of course, coming right out of the hospital, I was very weak, and I had lost a lot of weight, is what happens when you're in the hospital anyway, and didn't have my legs anymore, and I needed to have a gait belt. This is a thing that was strapped around, basically around my gut, or around my torso here, in case I was needed help moving around, or somebody could reach and hold on to this and keep me from falling down and injuring myself, because that was definitely a concern. At that point, nobody wanted me to fall down, and injure myself, but definitely didn't want me to fall down and hit my stump that had, which is still a fresh wound. It had a bunch of staples in it. Okay. Other thing that I needed to have handy was this bucket of stuff. This has basically got my personal hygiene type stuff in it. We've got some of these wipes, what do you call them, bathroom wipes, big people, baby wipes, whatever. I got a mirror. I've got an electric razor in this bag. Since I couldn't get to the sink or into the bathroom, I had to do all of this stuff outside of the bathroom, so I did it here. I've got a brush, got toothpaste, deodorant, toothbrushes, mouth rinse, and all the stuff that somebody would need, as well as the bottle of water that came in awfully handy that I have sitting over there already. When when it's time to brush your teeth and stuff, you got to rinse that junk out. Okay, one of the other things that I had, of course, this is a fresh stump. It was an open wound. I had to get redressed pretty regularly. So I had another box. Actually, I had about 3 boxes altogether that had bandages, tape. It's got this cleansing stuff. I had a couple other little cleansing type things to go along with it too. Some, some gauzes to go straight over the wound, and then more of these ACE type elastic wraps that went all the way around the bandages and the gauzes and all that, just to hold everything in place. So we had to have all of that. And of course, the way they typically do this is they'll cut this, and there's a flap of skin and muscle that goes over the bone, so the wound is really on the bottom side, and I couldn't really see it very well. I couldn't see it well enough to wrap it myself. I have a mirror and all of that, but it kind of takes 2 hands to do all that other stuff, and since that's all I got is 2 hands, I can hold a mirror. So somebody else would go ahead and clean that up and do the initial bandaging, and I could finish wrapping it up and do all of that. One of the other things besides a bedside table that I found that was very useful was kind of an easy scooting around table, which was one of these big bucket things. This is one of those Starlight, however big they are. That's pretty handy to have around, and it was very useful for me. And I'm sure, oh yeah, I remember also one of the things I forgot is I did get some big people diapers, just in case that was necessary. Until you're in this situation, you have absolutely no idea how difficult it is to move around. So, I figure better safe than sorry. Fortunately, those things are far more comfortable than you would suspect until you try them out. And that reminds me of one other thing that I had. I dropped off my little table, but it's one of these things. And if you do not know what one of these things is, then you probably won't need it after your amputation. But it is a urinal. I don't know. There's some kind of a technical name for it, I'm sure. But it's called a urinal. I actually specifically asked somebody how the heck you're supposed to use this, and they said, well, you're supposed to use it standing up, and I actually still haven't figured that out yet because I couldn't stand up. So if anybody's got an idea how you're supposed to use that, if you leave me a comment and tell me, I would be grateful, actually. In any case, that's probably most of what I had, except I will take one other thing. The pain pills, they were the closest thing to my bed. So some pain pills, something to wash the pain pills down with after an amputation. It's my understanding that about 100% of everybody takes some pain pills at least for a short period of time. So hopefully this was helpful to you, and it's something you'll be able to use in the future if necessary. Hopefully it won't be necessary. In any case, good luck.